Hello, and in this video about the band descriptors, I'm going to focus on fluency and coherence. Let's take a look at the band descriptors to see what this means. The band descriptors are what the IELTS examiners use to determine your band. The IELTS examiner's version are slightly different to this, but this is the public version that you're allowed to see. I'm going to focus on band 7 because I think this is a good band to aim for. If you're aiming for higher, that's fine, and all of the things that come into band 7 are included in band 8 and 9. So first of all, it's about speaking at length, so being able to speak quite a lot and not just sitting there and saying nothing. And it's about being coherent, which means that the IELTS examiner can understand you. It also is about avoiding repetition. It's saying some repetition is okay, but it's about avoiding the repetition. Also using a range of connectives and discourse markers. So in this video I'm going to look at some of these things and how you can focus on these things to try and get a high band score in fluency and coherence. First of all, I'd like to look at discourse markers, as these are essential for scoring highly in this band. What discourse markers are linking words, connectives. They're the glue that connects your writing or speaking together. Discourse just means communication, either spoken or written communication. And discourse markers indicate the direction that the speaking or writing is going. So interestingly, you're going to add something interesting. Conversely, you're going to say something opposite to what you've just said. And yet, similarly, you're going to add something maybe different to what you've already said. And they're so important because remember, 25% of your overall band score is looking at this area. So it's about being able to speak fluently and it's about being coherent, and that means using discourse markers that make it clear what you're going to say next. So if we look at this particular bullet point, which is using a range of connectives and discourse markers, a lot of IELTS candidates use and also. These are not good enough. These are not going to get you even 6 or above in this band score. So what can you do to get into the higher bands? Well, there are lots of different discourse markers, and as I go through the course I will highlight all of these. I'll just point out a few here. So if we're using discourse markers to add extra information, in fact, David Beckham is incredibly famous in the UK. In fact, he's legendary in all corners of the globe. In actual fact, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't like to be famous. In actual fact, I'm certain I'd absolutely hate it. As a matter of fact, kids are obsessed with pointless celebrities. As a matter of fact, the most famous people in the world right now are social media stars. So all of these are adding extra information and so much better than saying and also. So try to learn these and use these in your IELTS speaking. Another way in that we can make ourselves more coherent and using more complex language are using different ways of saying yes or no. A lot of the questions in IELTS, you might start your answer with yes, no, but don't. You could use words like absolutely, absolutely not, certainly, certainly not, definitely, definitely not. So for example, if the question was, do you like eating out? Oh, absolutely. I love going out every Friday night to celebrate the end of the week and start the weekend. Do you think homework is good for children? Oh, definitely not, because a lot of the time the homework isn't that useful and it's a lot of just drawing pictures and colouring in, and in the evenings children should be spending time with their parents and siblings. So making your answer more coherent, more complex by using these words instead of yes or no. So finally, let's take a look at part 3 answer, which has some great fluency and coherence expressions in it, all the expressions highlighted in the gold colour. So what are the advantages of living in a city or big town? Oh, well, I guess there are a number of advantages of residing in a city or town. First and foremost, there is access to local facilities. Not only do you have access to local shops, but also to the larger shopping malls and in the city centre. Another significant benefit is that the transport infrastructure is better. For example, you can take public transport to work instead of using your car. A final advantage worth mentioning is that the nightlife is significantly better than in rural areas. For instance, you can go to the cinema or the theatre in urban areas. As a matter of fact, such activities are almost non-existent in rural locations. So you can see here that all the discourse markers are giving it structure, a bit like in IELTS writing when you structure your paragraphs with your discourse markers. And the discourse markers here, such as first and foremost, a final advantage worth mentioning is, for instance, a matter of fact, another significant benefit is. These are all discourse markers that you could use in your IELTS writing task 2. So they're so important in IELTS, and as you go through this course, take a note of all the discourse markers that I use and try to include them in your answers because they're 25% of your overall band score for IELTS speaking. Thanks for watching.